Hey everyone, welcome to Kayfabe 6. My name is Mike and I'm here with Dan. And today we're talking about Sting and everything to do with Sting since signing that contract with the WWE. So Dan, I'm gonna let you take this one first.
All right, fun. It was cool to have him come in and screw over the Authority the way it did, even though that didn't really last too long.
I have to ask you, were you not expecting his Crow theme music? I think that's what a lot of people were hoping to hear.
Yeah, and it didn't make sense to me because WWE owns the rights now to everything WCW. Like you get the Sting DVD, you hear the classic Sting song. Why couldn't we have gotten that? Then we had the weird WWE remix of it, and it was just awful in
That
that
was pretty bad.
sense.
But how did you feel watching that Survivor Series, I guess, face off with Triple H?
It was considering the significance that Sting was that last guy from WCW that never made it over to WWE. For him to be face to face with Triple H was a very interesting, it was a great way for them to go. Like, I know for many years they're thinking Undertaker versus Sting, but the whole argument is that you have two very dark characters. But this seemed like a nice mix. My only thing, I'm on the fence rather or not he should have a speaking role because Sting is great on the mic. That's a fact. The very quiet, his overall persona is also very strong too. The promos they can do with him turning up out of nowhere, but I think there could have been so much done more with Sting and the Authority in this whole situation.
Yeah, I guess for me, I've always loved quiet Sting.
Mm.
I think one of the toughest parts for me, as a kid anyway, was when he finally decided to join an NWO faction, and he teased the Black and White that he was joining them, and then ripped out the Scorpion Death Drop, and then removed his shirt, and he had on the Wolfpack shirt. And for me, it was so strange because I guess I don't know, I just enjoyed watching him say nothing and beating up people, and then to suddenly hear him wooing and grabbing a mic, I just hated that mystique was gone. So I don't know, I'm a little torn. I guess it's a little weird because now we're getting a little bit of both in that now. You have him coming out in semi-Crow gear, and now he's coming out in the black and red also.
Yeah, it's a bit of a mismatch of what
What it is.
Sting.
Yeah, he's not talking, but at the same time he's like mouthing words to Triple H. He still's not saying anything on a mic. And then he'll what happened recently at Fastlane where he pointed on the sign. Were you already expecting it to be Triple H? I know that was always kind of rumored with Undertaker, but with Undertaker's situation up in the air and his condition, was that sort of something that you were looking forward to instead? Maybe him and Triple H, with Triple H being able to go, or at least sell for him as opposed to him facing Undertaker in a match that maybe should have happened like 10 years ago.
Considering the fact that the streak did end last year to the wrong person, in my opinion, because why would you give it to a part-time wrestler? Should have given it to Bray, even though Bray's young, but that's a whole other debate. But it makes sense for Triple H to be the guy because you have someone that is like Triple H is somewhat of he's always on screen, not as active. However, Sting this whole entire time has been a huge factor of NWA, TNA this whole entire time. Which that's where I gotta admit there were points when he was in TNA where I wish he was that quiet Sting. Like I didn't mind that whole Wolfpack NWO dilemma when he was speaking a little bit more, but some of the stuff they did with him in TNA was just that really just bugged the hell out of me. Like the main event mafia sounds cool, but when it's a bunch of guys that never broke the main event scene, it just doesn't work and kind of comes off cheesy when you see them all wearing suits and just full of douchebaggery at its finest. But
if Taker didn't lose his streak, would you have thought it would have been a good matchup to have Sting? Because then chances are that Sting would have to sort of essentially lose on his probably one and only WrestleMania match. So do you think maybe this is a better route to go, given the fact that he can face Triple H and win? Because Triple H will have no problem putting him over, as opposed to them having to worry about protecting Undertaker's streak. Do you think maybe this was a better route, or do you think now because Taker's streak has been broken that they should have considered pairing him up with Sting?
I gotta admit, I think with the significance of the streak, and let's face it, there is still attention towards anything related to outside WWE that isn't owned by WWE. I really do think that it is for the better because, like, let's face it, like Vince McMahon will not let the so-called face of WWE or WCW, my apologies, come over and defeat end the streak of the Undertaker, like a lifelong loyal WWE guy at WrestleMania. All of that, and it just really does seem like it's the better play right now, even in general. Because what would you do, like, to maintain both guys' legacies, have like some sort of double count out, or both guys pin each other at the same time, both shoulders on the mat? Like, how do you go and make a match, make a schedule that everyone walks away happy?
I think that's one of those things where you can't. Someone's got to win.
No, like that, it would, especially with WrestleMania. I think it would end up pissing off a lot of fans. It would be almost like that Brock versus Goldberg situation where it was a lot of build up and it just it didn't deliver at all. Man, so it's for the best.
So okay, so then let's talk about that. So basically, we know now it's gonna be Sting versus Triple H, but his appearances have been so limited. The storyline has been a little bit broken because here's a guy who came and helped overcome the Authority, only to not show up the next day, and then not even a few weeks later or the following week, the Authority got put back in power.
Yeah.
A few weeks later or whatever. So what was the purpose, and do you think that like what is your sort of view on just how his appearance ended up being pointless in the end?
Yeah, it was really, once again, goes back to that mishandling with the writing and the creative and the inconsistencies, because they really could have gone two different routes with regards to the storyline here. They could have, this is a bit of a long shot, but who knows? Maybe they could have had Sting as the GM, like this would, and completely drive Triple H nuts that the face of WCW is now has taken his job.
I think a lot of people were expecting that.
That would have built a lot of heat for WrestleMania. Or even considering the fact that Bryan was very involved, on camera, not necessarily in the wrestling aspect of that storyline, have him as the GM. But even then, like, it's still, they had to they needed to use Sting better.
I think that's what I found really funny about the whole thing. You have the following night after Survivor Series where everyone was expecting Sting to come out and address what he did, and instead they go for another guy they know is going to get cheered, in Daniel Bryan, to sort of soften everything. So I think at least for me, I was expecting that Sting to have a role, at least to build up to the match WrestleMania for Control. But I just don't think he was used well at all. I think now it's just going to end up us getting a match, which I don't know how it's going to go. It might end up being surprising. I know it. I would probably end up enjoying it more than Sting versus Taker at both their ages. But you know, what are you expecting to come out of this? Are you expecting there to be a stipulation where if Sting wins, I don't know, Authority's out of power, but he's not on TV anymore? Or do you think this will carry over after WrestleMania, after their match?
See, the problem now, it's like, okay, we do have a few weeks to WrestleMania, but I feel like the WWE somewhat has limited themselves by creating this non-speaking role. Like, is he finally going to speak? Because even last night, Triple H really was goading Sting, or what was it, Booker T, bugging him about why do you think Sting finally came over? And this is all opportunities to finally break the silence that nothing's being done with that yet. So it's very tricky right now. I would love to see, let's up the ante, make it more than just the clash of the face of WWE versus the face of WCW. Let's put Control. But the only thing with that is, if the Survivor Series was a sign of anything, is creative can not stick with the storyline. Like we even talked about before, Nikki and Brie Bella. That's one of the worst examples of how they cannot stick to a storyline. So I don't know. It's, even if it is just going to be a big match, it could end up being very similar to, in WrestleMania 24, how it was for Michaels versus Ric Flair. A lot of good spots. The guys were fairly older at the time, and it ended up being a really great match. So I don't think it will steal the show, but if it's done the right way, it could be a great moment.
I don't know, I guess for me, I'm hoping for some surprises. I would love to see some guys come to aid Triple H, and then you have some surprise WCW guys maybe come to aid Sting. Maybe a guy like Booker T, and maybe a couple guys we haven't seen in a bit to sort of come and put him over, especially someone like Flair, who essentially got pushed by Triple H last time they met in the ring. But it'll be interesting. I really can't even call this. I don't know how the match is going to be. I assume Sting's going to go over regardless. But it'll be interesting to see. I'm just happy to, see Sting have his WrestleMania moment. I really do hope they, make me happy and give him back that Crow theme and have him in the full Crow gear. I just always love that look.
Yeah.
But yeah, it'll be fun. It'll be interesting, I guess, more than fun. I think it could end up surprising, but I don't know. It'll be a sight for sure. I think with Sting having his first match.
The good thing right now is they're already doing the right thing where they have so many WCW guys. There was Michael Haynes, Arn Anderson, Booker T last night. They have a lot of guys that can help bring more context into the storyline while maintaining the whole the mystery behind Sting. But I'm really curious to see if this is just going to be WrestleMania or is it going to be anything further afterwards. Considering the age, like I would like to see him as a GM. Like I'm sick of the Authority. It's this whole storyline's it's just I don't know. I'm very done with it. It's promos are too long with them, and it cuts into having good long matches on Raw or SmackDown. I don't know. I would like to see a massive change, and Sting could be the right person for that. But
I think you're right. I think that's where we're gonna see the stipulation going. I mean, we're about 4 weeks out now, so we'll see. So yeah, to everyone listening, thanks for listening. Subscribe, like, comment, let us know how you felt about Sting's return and sort of as we get onto the road to WrestleMania, what you're hoping to see and where you're hoping that you will go with it and yeah, thanks.
Peace.